So good afternoon, it's Lynn here from the Learn English Network, and this is the Let's Talk About It session. April and Shiny have joined, and yeah, only the two of you, which is fine, but yeah, as I said to April earlier, it might become an issue. Yeah, on Monday in Discord, I started the session. If you look at the recording, it's quite funny because I thought, well, this is going to be a short session because I was the only person there and I was talking to myself for 5 minutes, but people sort of slowly wombled in. Yeah, I think we're getting a little bit too lax on letting people in and when we start and when people can join. I don't know what the answer is, but we will have to have a little discussion amongst the teachers. Okay, one little announcement. Marianne has come.
I was there, Lynn.
Yeah, I know, but late. If you look at the recording.
No.
Oh.
I was before 9, but I saw that you were in the common room text chat. But you weren't on the voice chat, so I think I will wait. And because last time I was there and you didn't answer, so I think I will wait. I will wait.
Okay, well, what I'll do is in the future I'll pop my little avatar in there, but I won't actually start the call till at the moment. But if you see my little avatar in there, just come in, because all you do is mute your mic and then you're just ready and you can hear me. It was very strange. I sort of turned up and it was like tumbleweed going through the room. But anyway, never mind. Let's concentrate on this session because it's going to be a fun session. Haha, she says. April, you remembered what we were doing last week, and we were talking about laughter, yeah? And this week we're going to talk about laughter and the brain, but we mentioned something called laughter yoga. Okay, and I thought it would be interesting to read a little bit about that. Haha, indeed. Now, you know me, I don't need to go to a group of people and learn how to laugh, or in order to spark laughter. I generally laugh most of the time. In most situations I will laugh. But April, you were the first here today, so I'm going to get you to just introduce what laughter yoga is about. Now bear with me a second because there's a little bit of cut and pasting correction to be done here, and I'm not sure where it is. Where is it? Where's the word popular? Ah, there it is. Yeah. Okay, so laughter yoga. First of all, before April reads, when you hear the word yoga, what do you think of?
I see myself with sitting on the ground with my legs crossed legs, or I know I tried once
oh dear.
to stand on my head and my.
So you think of this, yeah?
It's only for 1 second and then I fell.
Oh no! It sounds. Now,
I can't.
In all honesty, a lot of yoga classes that you go to are dangerous because they try to get you to do things you're not ready for yet. But yeah, a lot of people think of that sort of yoga pose, the meditation pose. What about you, Shiny? Have you ever tried yoga?
Yes, once.
Just the once? Okay.
Yes, but because it's free. It was free.
Oh, okay.
So I think it's.
And why was it only the once then? Did you not enjoy it?
I enjoy it. It's very interesting. It was very interesting, and
but because you say just the once, so
but once, but about, I think it's about 2 hours. long.
Wow, that's a long session. But you didn't feel like taking it up as a hobby or a way of exercise, regular exercise, no?
Because it's so expensive here. I don't know any other place, but it's very expensive here in Japan. So I can't
that surprises
afford
me.
it.
Yeah, okay. I mean, it can be expensive in Germany. I mean, it's very popular in Germany and in the UK. It can be expensive depending on where you go, but you can also get small classes in local halls. And if you don't go to an actual yoga school, I could go to yoga lessons in my gym, at my gym. It's included in the price of my gym membership. So I don't think it's prohibitively expensive, but you do have to be careful because you can, if you end up in there's lots of videos online in comedy shows where I think Friends did an episode once where they wanted to meet girls and they went to a yoga class and people end up injured quite regularly if they go to the wrong yoga class. You bought a DVD. Oh, and do you use it?
No. I even didn't unpack the package. I mean, I think I am ready for it at any minute, but I just don't know how to start it. You know,
there are online yoga classes now. You know. And some of them are free. Now, obviously, because it's yoga and there's a spiritual element to it as well, you have to be a little wary that it's not, they're not trying to get you into something else. Hello, Dope. Hello. Do you want to take a chair? We've started the session, so take a seat. So you have to be a little careful, a little wary. Anything online you have to be a little wary of, but if you really want to try it, give it a go. Amatsu does yoga regularly and she goes to yoga classes and she really recommends it. She keeps telling me I ought to take it up, but honestly I have enough with my German classes, my computing classes and my gym membership. I have enough to do. Okay, so that's traditional yoga, which is an exercise, lots of stretching, advanced yoga. You've got these strange poses, as April said, standing on your head, legs wrapped around your neck. I wouldn't recommend that one for you either, April. And sometimes you can see people in the park doing these amazing yoga stretching exercises. And it has a very good reputation. Medically as well. A lot of doctors recommend it as a way of relaxing and as a way of rehabilitation if you've had an accident and you need gentle exercise to get you fit again. As long as it's done professionally, it can benefit you. But what about laughter yoga? You like the meditation part of yoga? Well, anyone can meditate. You can meditate anywhere. You don't need yoga principles to be able to meditate. I don't think anyway, but I like meditating too, as you know. Hubby says you don't meditate and I'm like, you don't know what I do when you're not here.
But that's not easy actually, Lina. Meditate because
meditation is very easy.
But only for a couple of minutes. After 2-3 minutes, then I will think of something else because you have to concentrate.
No, you don't concentrate. No, don't concentrate. If you're concentrating on meditating, you're not meditating.
You're not meditating.
Just let the thoughts flow. It's about relaxation. You can use the relaxation techniques. From the tips of your fingers to the ends of your feet to your toes. Relax each part of your body, tense, relax.
I think that's the main point of meditation is just...
Yeah,
I think that the main point of meditation is just to, how to say, to to be aware of your watcher. If you will notice this person of watcher who is seeing the flow of your thoughts, which you not have to just like to be focused on some thoughts. You just let them come and let them go.
Exactly.
You don't have to.
You let the thoughts flow through you, and you find breathing's important. And as I say, if you're very tense, relaxing your body's important. And if you need something to concentrate on, I sometimes use sound. I sometimes use just a candle. But then the idea is just to let the thoughts flow. Don't worry that you've got thoughts coming into. You've got a brain. When the thoughts stop flowing, April, you're dead. Okay.
or you reached enlightenment. You know,
oh, you've reached complete enlightenment. But that takes a. And I think if you're meditating, in order to achieve this so-called enlightenment, you're probably meditating for the wrong reasons. Meditation is the goal in itself, to me. Some people don't enjoy it because they don't enjoy the thoughts that come into their heads. But as long as you don't stress out about it, because once you start stressing, and when you said to me you have to concentrate, I'm like, that's completely the opposite of what I do. Any thoughts?
Sometimes we just presume that the thoughts, and we just presume that thoughts, and it's we. But ego, it's not we. It's not the watcher.
Yeah, that's all a bit deep. Again, I don't worry about that kind of thing. I just let my brain relax, because quite often I do get tense. I do get sort of stressed out about all the things. And that's when I take 10, 15, half an hour to relax. Because once you allow yourselves to get overstimulated, overstressed, you can't concentrate on what you're doing. And I find 15 minutes of meditation so relaxing. And I come back onto the computer or doing my garden, whatever. Yeah, you can meditate anywhere. You can meditate on the bus. You can meditate in the middle of nowhere. You can meditate in the middle of the city. It's like getting into the habit of doing it. Okay.
So tiny man show up.
Hi, tough guy. Okay, so let's read about this laughter yoga. Have you still got the text I posted, April?
Yeah, I have it.
Okay, excellent. If you could read to us then, please.
Okay. Laughter yoga, Hasya yoga, is a practice involving prolonged...
What are you reading?
Artem, please, may I? Laughter yoga, Hasya yoga, is a practice involving prolonged voluntary laughter. Laughter yoga is based on the belief that a voluntary laughter provides the same physiological benefits as spontaneous laughter. Laughter yoga is done in groups with eye contact, jokes, and playfulness between participants. Forced laughter soon turns into real and contagious laughter. In the mid-1990s, laughter yoga was practiced in the early mornings in open parks, primarily by groups of older people. Laughter yoga was made popular as an exercise routine developed by Indian physician Madan Kataria, who writes about the practice in his 2002 book, Laugh for No Reason. Tough guy may know that. Laughter yoga.
Maybe. Some people have never heard of it, but it became quite popular. Not quite popular in doing it, but lots of the news broadcasts, the BBC, ITV News, etc., they started looking at it when the classes began in the UK. But I believe it began in America. And it is quite funny as an outsider to watch it happen. And you think, oh no, I could never do that. But that said, the medical establishment is beginning to look at it as a way of relaxation again, as normal yoga, normal's the wrong word, but traditional yoga is also a method of relaxation. Laughter yoga is looked on as a method of relaxation too. Now, there's a lot of words in there and words. You did very well. Good job.
I don't know. I think that yoga, any point related to the meditation, you know, it's different.
Yeah, no, it is. It's part of it. But as I said, you don't have to go into that. You don't have to go that deeply into yoga and other religious aspects of meditation. You can just meditate for your own sake, for your own health, for your own well-being, without sticking your leg behind your ear or going om, looking for enlightenment.
But this laughter yoga, I think it's when people laugh. I notice even in myself this, because laughter, it's when you laugh, the brain produces dopamine.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that's
Well, we're
why
going
you enjoy it, you know.
That's right. We're going to look at that in a bit, actually. I think Shiny's crashed. Or is she still with us? Shiny, are you still with us? Or have you disappeared? Okay. Okay, so let's have a look. You did
She went to meditate.
Yeah, hang on. Let me give April. No, let me give April her feedback. So, physician, you did very well. Physician is another word for doctor, and then we've got physiological. Anything to do with the body is physiological. Try it.
Yeah. Physiological. Yeah. When I was reading that, I thought that they are the same.
No.
The beginning, physiological and physiological benefits. What is that? I was
Okay.
already confused.
That should have made you stop. Okay, so when you're reading something or saying something, if you start getting confused, trust yourself. Your brain was going, no, there's something wrong there. So if you'd stopped and just said, oh, hang on a minute, and then looked mindfully, looked carefully at it, then you'd have seen physiological and then psychological. So it has benefits for the body, physiological. It has benefits for the mind, psychological. So try it, psychological, April.
The P is silent, Jillian?
Yes.
Okay. Psychological benefits.
Yeah, that's it. Psy, when you see psychological or psy at the beginning of a word, not in the middle of a word like tipsy, that's the P is pronounced there, but psy and then followed by other letters, it's a silent P. Psychological, psychology, psycho. Week. It's always a silent P, okay?
Okay.
And then
Sometimes I don't know if I have to say psi or si, because we say
psychological.
si.
Yeah, I say psi always. I can't think of any. So psyche, psycho, psyla, psyop, psychs, psyli. Psyli. There you are. I might say psyli, but that's about the only one I think that I would say. Yeah, psychedelic. Psycholinguists. Psychotic. Okay. But yeah, you might hear somebody saying psychological, probably from dialect, I would say, because PSY is usually psi. Okay. And then the last word there in your list was spontaneous.
Yes.
Spontaneous.
Spontaneous.
Yeah.
Spontaneous.
We talk about spontaneity. Oh, hang on, can't spell. So spontaneity, but spontaneous. Now, what does
Spontaneous.
spontaneous mean? What is spontaneity? Any idea?
When you do something without thinking, you know.
Yay! I'd say, Dope, you're very spontaneous. Quite often you just do stuff.
Yeah, but I can internet my condition. I can be, and also
You
to
can
make
be
a plan
thoughtful,
for those.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with being spontaneous, and with that, you know, there's nothing wrong with showing spontaneity, in my personal opinion. But sometimes it can get you into trouble.
Yeah, I used to.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I can understand that totally. I can understand that. Okay, Reem's joining us, so let's invite Reem in. And I'm not sure what's happened to Shiny. She's crashed. It can be annoying, yes, especially if you're not a spontaneous person. If you like to think things through before you act, but you know, takes all sorts. And sometimes it's there. If you are feeling annoyed by that, sometimes it's worth thinking about, why am I annoyed?
And
What
start
is
to
it
dig
about me
deeper
that makes
and deeper and deeper.
Indeed. But if you are annoyed, then it's best to say something. Look, as you did, April, you said, no, don't, shush, I'm reading.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you know that you're a very spontaneous person, it's as well to be aware of the people around you and just to watch how they're reacting as well. To be mindful. Welcome back, Shiny. Hello, Reem. Nice to see you. Okay, so who was Shiny? I'm glad you're back. Have you got Mike? Because I would like you to read next. If you've got Mike.
She was connection.
I know. You froze. Not freezed, I froze. Remember that film, Frozen? So, to freeze.
Police people, freeze! Don't move, freeze!
Froze. Frozen. Okay, so it's an irregular verb. So I froze. My computer froze, in fact. Because you didn't freeze, Shiny, but your computer froze. So, Shiny, have you got Mike? Can you speak? Try it. Let's see if we can hear you.
Hello, I can speak.
Hello.
Hello. Dope, you sound nothing like Shiny. Okay, so
Stupid
Shiny.
dog.
Shiny, if you'd like to read the text, okay?
Yes. The yoga is performed without any humorous reason to laugh, with one practitioner observing that the mind does not know that we're faking it. Laughter yoga sessions may start with gentle warm-up techniques, which include stretching, chanting, clapping, eye contact, and body movement to help break down inhibition and encourage a sense of playfulness. Breathing exercises are used to prepare the lungs for laughter, followed by a series of laughter exercises that combine the method of acting and visualization techniques with playfulness. Laughter exercises are interspersed with breathing exercises. 20 minutes of laughter is sufficient to develop fully physiological benefits.
Very good. Well read. Nicely read. Just a few words, then we'll talk about the text. So, stretching.
Stretching.
Not You've got to get that S sound. Stretching.
Stretching.
Good. And then inhibitions. Well done. You get a smiley for that one. Then playfulness. Try and get that long A. Not playfulness, playfulness.
Playfulness.
Perfect. Exercises.
Exercises.
Good. And at the end,
Exercises.
sufficient.
Sufficient.
Good. Well done. April, you've put interspersed. When something is
I don't
interspersed with
really
something
understand.
else, it means in amongst it. So not just one thing, but you do the laughter exercise and then you'll do a breathing exercise. Then laughter, then breathe. You swap them around. They're interspersed. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Now, if you've got a word like that and you want to know the different contexts, don't be frightened to use Google. Just put in find sentences with interspersed. I mean, literally that. Okay. Not just look up the meaning, but do a Google search using that phrase, find sentences with. And you'll find all the definitions, but you'll also find sentences and phrases that use that particular word in different contexts. And I think looking at the different contexts of a word can help you build a better picture of how the word is used. Okay. So, word hippo, let's have a look what they've got. There you are. The videos are interspersed with split-second frames depicting scenes from a bloody video game which features hand-to-hand combat. Most buildings are 2 stories or less, and Western-themed bars are interspersed with diners serving delicious pancakes and petrol stations. Okay, so it gives you a nice look at, oh, okay, you can intersperse buildings, you can intersperse video framing, you can intersperse in this context exercises. It's quite a useful little word. Okay. Ah, dope. Yeah, good one. Yeah, exactly. Lots of different ways of interspersing things. Our sessions are interspersed with reading and discussion. Our reading sessions are interspersed with discussion topics. Okay.
It's funny, Lynn. I think I copied your sentence, find sentences with interspersed, and I put it for Google on the browser. They didn't find words sentences with interspersed, but with teacher. Because I didn't. Because I copied also
Oh, you got your teacher.
Your teacher. I think, what?
Your teacher found. Yeah, be careful what you ask Google to do, because it will do that. Oh dear, it looks like Reem's frozen too. Oh gosh. Okay, one of those days today. So in this, they talk about visualization as well. Exercises and visualization. So it's an interesting little word, visualization. Oh, sorry, my bad spelling. Visualization. Okay. And I always find it interesting in virtual worlds. We use, I don't know about you, but I use a lot of visualization when I'm in virtual worlds. If you can see the scene around us here, okay, you can almost visualize being on this street outside a cafe. I'm always thinking about, oh, I'd like to pop into that cafe and have a coffee. I'm visualizing it, I'm imagining it. So visualization and imagination, they're very, very
I think it's different.
similar.
It's a difference in visualization and imagination. I think it's visualization. It's like when you saw something, like a car, for example, like a beautiful car, and you, in a few years, you can recall your memory and visualize the scar in your brain. But imagine when I imagine something and create something new. What do you think about?
Well, yes and no. If you visualization and imagination can be synonyms of each other in certain contexts, okay, but they can also be slightly different. In visualization, we tend to visualize things that exist already. Okay, so it's almost like visualize yourself sitting on a beach in the sun with the sand between your toes.
Which beach you already saw?
Yeah, well, or a beach you've been to beaches, okay? Doesn't have to be a beach, but it's something that's real, tangible.
When you
imagination can also include things that don't exist yet. But you can also imagine yourself on a beach, so that they can be used the same, but imagination can take it further to using, imagine yourself somewhere that's never existed, that you make it up in your... As a lot of imagination goes into some builds in OpenSim and Second Life. They're not visualizing things, they're actually imagining purple grass and full moons in the sky. That's using your imagination. So you can imagine something in the darkness. That's using your imagination. You can visualize darkness because you have experience of it. Okay? So visualize yourself in a dark room. It's warm, you feel safe. That kind of visualization techniques. Okay? So imagination extends visualization into the unreal, into the monster under the bed that you've never actually seen.
Lynn, sorry. Mike. Mike.
Okay.
But it's but yeah, before Artem interrupt me. Isn't it that visualization, something, trying to visualize something in the darkness is like to try to find the real things that in the darkness. So to be able to see, isn't it that the meaning?
Not really. I mean, if you're in a
not
dark
wait
room...
for not wait for a darkness, for a night. You just need to close eyes,
wait, Artem, I can't understand anything now.
Okay, Artem was saying, just close your eyes. You don't have to imagine a dark room. You can just close your eyes. And then you can try to visualize things, okay? Or you can try to imagine things at the same time. Depends what you're trying to visualize and what you're trying to imagine, okay?
No, I mean, for example, I see in the darkness something, a shadow, maybe, and then maybe Artem is there in the darkness, and I try to make him clearer. So can I use that word? I try to visualize the shadow in the darkness. That shadow in the darkness.
No, then you're just trying to see it.
Shadow can be seen in shadow can be seen in darkness. It's also nice.
Yeah, well, again, Dope's got it. You're just trying to see the shadow in the darkness. You're not trying to visualize it. It's there. So you're just trying to work out what it is. You're not visualizing really. Okay.
To work out. That is
to work out. Yeah. To work out. Oh, what is that? And then you might start to imagine that it's Dope. And then you wake up from your nightmare.
And I will run away. Artem, if it is you.
Yeah, you try to, if you see something, a shape in the darkness, you try to work out what it is, and your imagination might take over, and then you might start visualizing what you think it might not, what you don't want it to be. Okay. Anyway, let's
Yeah,
go back
this
to the
because
topic. Let's go back to the text.
yeah.
Okay. Oh, let's see. Okay, to break down inhibitions. Okay. Now, what does it mean to help break down inhibitions?
Inhibition, can I answer?
Yes, Artem. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, see, I can do it. See? It's like, it's when you just stop to resist, and like it's like feelings that make you uncomfortable, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it stops you from being able to act normally, to be relaxed, to be yourself if you have
Yeah.
inhibitions. Yeah, very good. And it's a big issue in language learning, I'm afraid to say. Our inhibitions hold us back when we're learning a language. And sometimes we do need to break down our inhibitions. Our inhibition to speak out loud, for example, Shiny. And it stops you from, a lot of people who are shy, they have different inhibitions that make them shy. But there are other inhibitions that are good. There are inhibitions that stop us from going around actually hitting people that we want to hit, but we have inhibitions that stop us from doing that. So they're not bad, they're not always negative things, but when you're learning a language, sometimes your inhibitions can prevent you from making fast progress. You don't have the confidence, you feel inhibited by the fear of making mistakes when you're writing, when you're speaking, and that's not good. That's not good. Shiny talked a lot last night. Good. I'm glad to hear it. I wish I was there. I wish I'd been there. Now there are things that yes.
When I was younger, I liked a lot to listen rock, and I was driving my neighbors crazy, I think, because there's a noise, and I also was shouting like crazy animal, But after all, I was.
Younger people have fewer inhibitions.
Before 13 years old, but after,
Yeah.
when I started
Hormones.
I'm adult, and I
Your
was
hormones.
different person.
Yeah,
I
your
was
hormones.
crazy and shout like animal.
Hormones.
And little by little, I started to guard my
You started
energy.
to grow up. Yeah, you started to grow up. You go through so many changes as you grow up. Okay, and the hormones.
But when I was shouting, it was like relaxation for me. I was peaceful afterwards.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there is a reason that rock music is so popular. It can help you overcome your inhibitions. Yeah, you get into the music. It's almost like meditating. You lose yourself in the music, and then you can dance and you can be crazy and let out all those that energy that you've got pent up inside you. And there's also, I'm glad you heard that. Yeah, having noisy neighbours, I have to say, is a nightmare. I had noisy neighbours once, and they were truly awful. They were also young people, and they had very big, loud. Well, they had very big, loud music system that really shouldn't have belonged in a flat. It should have been out in the middle of a field somewhere. But it's life. It's life. So there are other things. Well, hormones can lower your inhibitions. Can you think of anything else? A substance that can lower your inhibitions? Alcohol. I always say
so. It's only boost. It's only boost.
Well, alcohol does lower your inhibitions. I always say my German's much more fluent when I've had a couple of beers. Because my fear of speaking goes. But I don't recommend it as a learning technique. Because it can also make you do stupid things. But there are things that...
in this way, yes. In this way, yes. But I usually perform very bad things when I'm under.
Well, Stay off it then. You know that. You know that you do bad things when you're under the influence, so to speak. So the best thing is to make sure you stay off it. And what it does is it has an effect on your brain. And you mentioned this earlier, Artem, dopamine.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot of stuff can produce the dopamine, but the biggest is amphetamine and sex, I think, also can include.
True, but there's also laughter.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So let's carry on reading. This time it's your turn, Dope. Okay. Dopamine, yes.
See, you're clever. You're such a clever.
April's one of the cleverest people I know. She sees connections and her brain makes the connections. Well done. Okay, so our brains can benefit from laughter. Some cultures look at laughter as if it has a sort of indication, a relationship to idiocy somehow, that you shouldn't laugh, but they're really missing out on something, because in our stressful world, having a good laugh, literally having a good laugh, is really good. It's really good. Sometimes we can't go on a long holiday. Sometimes we can't go and actually lie on a real beach. We have to visualize it. Sometimes we don't have time to do that, but you can always have a good laugh. So, Dope, if you'd like to start reading.
Yeah, but I just wanted to say there is another chemical which can provide you thrill. It's like endorphin, but it's different. It's like endorphin produce your organism when you work and you enjoy by labor performance. When you do something manually, your brain produces endorphin, and it's why the athletes and the sportsmen so addicted to perform the same
Yep, don't
task
worry. We're going to
again and again.
We will be mentioning endorphins as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. When you think of burnout, what is the first thing that comes to mind? Maybe horror images of someone so burned out that they become a vegetable with no brain function left. Well, what if you were told that answer isn't that far-fetched? When someone burns out, the brain's emotional responses become suppressed. The brain can cope any longer, and the person may well give the general impression of suddenly having a short fuse. The simplest way to cure this is usually embarking on a well-earned break from the stress of everyday life. But sometimes all we need is some fun and laughter to turn the universe back to how it was meant to be. Here are a few ways to laughter and fun can help you to cure any symptoms of burnout.
Very good, well done. Nicely read, well done. So, a short fuse, not fuzz. Fuzz is with a double Z, yeah? Like a fuzzy bunny, a fuzzy wuzzy. Wasn't fuzzy wuzzy. Hang on, what's this? Oh, hang on. There is a rhyme. Fuzzy wuzzy was a bear. Fuzzy wuzzy didn't care. So fuzzy wuzzy wasn't fuzzy wuzzy. Okay, okay, never mind. I don't know why that. I don't know why that came into my head, but as soon as you said fuzz, I'd got fuzzy wuzzy was a bear. Fuzzy wuzzy didn't care. So fuzzy wuzzy wasn't fuzzy wuzzy. Anyway, but in this case, it's not fuzz. It's a short fuse. A fuse. So you can have fuses in electronics. Yeah, there's a fuse box in the house here, and if one of the computer's fuses, then the fuse box might trip and all the lights go out and my internet connection goes. But that's quite good because it's a safety aspect. You can have a fuse on a bomb. And if you have too short a fuse on the bomb, you might get blown up with the bomb. But what does it mean in this context if someone has a short fuse? Any ideas? What might it mean if someone has a short fuse?
It's I just can say it's like when suddenly you turn you switch behavior.
Kind of, but it's to do with temper. Okay, so if your parents have a short
Oh
fuse,
yes, short temper. Yes. That's
yeah, short temper is short fuse. The littlest thing can set you off. You become shouty, you become angry, and you just and it's not always all the time. You know, things
immature
can change.
people
Yeah,
react.
but you react very quickly and angrily to the littlest things if you've got a short fuse, and it can be a symptom of burnout. I mean, burnout of the brain, we're talking about a mental breakdown now, yeah, and that can really be debilitating. It's not one little thing, it's everything, and then your brain literally shuts down and you can no longer react with the things around you. People go into mental hospitals after a mental breakdown. It's a major aspect of being a human to protect ourselves from this thing. And if we can do anything that will protect ourselves from a mental breakdown, I think we should, especially if it doesn't involve drugs. But
I have a special protection. My name is Artem, and it means healthy, so nothing can damage me.
Awesome! Your name, you reflect your name.
Yeah.
But it happened during the First World War in a major way because a lot of the soldiers suffered from a mental breakdown due to the constant bombing, the stress. We talked about it, April, if you remember. Okay, it's also called a nervous breakdown. And you literally are unable to function anymore. And the warning signs, this is where burnout comes in, this term burnout. Yeah, some people are very high functioning and they really, really are amazing. You know, you see, how can they? And eventually one day, it's like they've used up all their mental reserves, all their energy, all their physical well-being in this amazing example of creativity or whatever, and suddenly they're no longer that person anymore. They're burnt out. They have a mental breakdown, they have a nervous breakdown, they're on drugs, they're on medication, they're under therapy, and they're not the same person afterwards, ever. They're not the same person. So it's funny to talk about laughter as a prevention of burnout, but it's actually quite serious as well, because people are looking for what is the answer.
Sometimes doctors even prescribe, drugs, very heavy drugs.
Well, it is sadly, reaching for the medical cabinet is something that doctors are almost predisposed to do, especially in Western medicine. The further east you go, the more they look at the holistic aspects of what's causing this and, what can we do to change this. Whereas in the West, we kind of think, what can we do to fix this? Yeah, it can be triggered by something as well. It can be triggered by a death. It can be triggered by an accident. It can be triggered by a tragedy. All these things can affect our mental well-being. Being depressed, being anxious, and some of the warning signs can be these mood swings. We talked about mood swings before. Yeah, so mood swings. You're happy, you're elated one minute and you're depressed the next. You're elated again, you're depressed the next. And it can all be a sign of this sort of mental burnout and having a short fuse. Okay, so what can laughter do? Tough guy, have you got the mic? Are you still with us? You're very quiet, tough guy.
Yes.
Hey, awesome. Okay, let's have a look at what laughter can do.
If you find yourself frequently feeling tired and without energy for no reason, it could be due to the diminished action of dopamine, uh, apin, epinephrine, and glutamate in the brain, which are classically referred to as stimulatory neurotransmitters. Laughter has been shown to boost endorphins, endorphins that are known to increase motivation and energy levels. Laughter and exercise are two of the best ways to boost your endorphin levels.
Very good. You see, I told you dope endorphins, dopamine, and and this is a really difficult one. It's epinephrine. Epinephrine. I'm not a biochemist, but epinephrine. Try it, tough guy.
Hello. Okay. Epinephrine.
Good. And a lot is being talked about these neurotransmitters. The brain is amazing. Now, if you want to have a little travel through a brain, I can recommend High Fidelity. There's a build in High Fidelity, which is another virtual reality program. And you just download the High Fidelity program and you can go exploring. Oh, sorry, I just sneezed. You can get all this talk of the brain, it's making me sneeze. You can go exploring, and one person's built this amazing sort of virtual reality of what goes on in the brain, and you can see the neurotransmitters working, and it's amazing. They're almost like little creatures. They're running around in my brain now. It just freaks me out a bit because they're like, oh, every time I have a thought, I know one of these little fellas is dashing off to go and carry it somewhere. Which makes me laugh, which is okay. Okay, so any questions? April, take the mic.
The paragraph before, Lind, that is a word that far-fetched or far-fetched? How can you...
Far-fetched.
How should I... Fetched.
Yeah.
Not fetched.
Not fetched, no, fetched. To fetch is also a verb in itself. So when you throw a stick for a dog, the dog should fetch it. The dog fetched the stick. But if something is far-fetched, do you know what that means? If I tell you something that's a bit far-fetched, let me think.
Far to reach?
No. It's more imagination. You've got to use your imagination for something that's far-fetched. When I woke up this morning, I thought, okay, today I'll get up early, I'll go to the gym, then I'll go swimming, then I'll come back, I'll get everything ready for this session and the session afterwards. Then maybe I'll go for a walk again, and then maybe I'll go for a run this evening. Do you think that's possible? Because it sounds a bit far-fetched to me.
It's impossible.
Not impossible. It could be true, but probably not likely.
Not likely, okay.
Yeah, very, very unlikely. Okay. Difficult to believe. However, you can hear something that you think is far-fetched and then you find out it's true. For example, we were talking about robots taking over our work, everybody, and I read this article, I mentioned it on Friday, I think, that in 10 years' time, teachers will be replaced by robots. Now, that sounds far-fetched to me, but when you read the article, you realise it's not that far-fetched. We're almost there. Okay? So not impossible, but stretching your incredulity. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
No problems. Okay, so let's have a look. April, if you're ready to read again, what else? What other benefits are there to laughter?
Okay. Having a good time makes you sleep better. The inability to sleep and poor energy levels tend to go hand in hand and are both classic symptoms of burnout. Simply having a good time and enjoying yourself can help you to sleep better, which translates to enhanced energy during the daytime. It will not happen overnight, but consistently enjoying your days should be able to make a strong dent in correcting these imbalances, translating to better sleep every night. I don't really agree, because if I have a very nice a day, a lot of laughter with friends, I will be, especially if it is in the late afternoon or in the afternoon, I couldn't, I wouldn't be able to sleep directly. I was still thinking and still laughing
You're still buzzing.
after that.
Yes, that's right, but it's not like at 10, 10 a.m. 10 p.m. you was having a fun, you came home at 10:30 and immediately went to bed, and you are just willing to fall asleep. It won't happen, of course. It's just like during the day when you came home, relaxed, in a few hours you will get asleep easily. Of course, because the
They don't
dopamine
say
is
that.
still in your brain.
Well,
Still in your
and as
brain.
it says in the,
Just laughter.
yeah, as it says in the article, it won't happen overnight. It's about a consistent. It's not about having a fantastically wild time once a month. That's bound to have your brain buzzing because it's not used to it. It's going, wait, can we do more of this, please? But if you consistently enjoy your days, I find that if I have a few weeks of just really enjoying myself, that's why holidays work. You know, you can relax, you enjoy yourself more, and I find I sleep better, I feel better, and I know for a fact that when I sleep better, I am a better person, because when I'm not sleeping well, I'm a grump. I'm totally a grump, completely a grump. Okay, so we'll carry on reading about it next week. As I say, you can pre-prepare on the magazine if you go to the article. I will add the article into let's talk about it in the forum. Okay, and we're up to tolerance improves when you have fun. We'll see if that's true next week. So thanks ever so much for coming. We've run over a bit, but that's because everybody seemed to turn up a little late today. So try to be on time, or even early is better, and waiting, because then everybody reses better. It's strange, but it seems to have worked quite well on my Alchemy viewer, because I had real problems this week with my Firestorm viewer. I don't know why it happens. It's like they get full or something. I don't know. Maybe I'll have to clear the
Ian, Marian, did you contact you?
what did he contact me?
Marian did contact you.
Marian did, yes. Yeah. Marian is not going to be able to run the sessions this week. She's looking for a solution, but at the moment she's snowed under with work. And so I've told her just to relax this week, take a break. We'll keep her seat warm for her. Sadly, I'd already pre-booked my German lessons, so I can't take the session this evening. Maybe next week I'll look at doing something, but there will be a pop-up English session on Thursday to make up for the fact that I won't be in Speakeasy Thursday night. I'm going to go and see King Crimson in, oh gosh, where am I going? Somewhere in Germany they're playing, and wherever it is they're playing, Kassel, I think, or Cologne. I don't know, somewhere beginning with K. No idea, but it's going to be fun. So thanks a lot for coming and for reading, taking part. Think about what we've read about, and if you want to comment on in the forum, you don't have to agree with it. Remember, as you said, April, I don't agree. It doesn't happen for me, but so you can always disagree. It's about discussion, not about finding the solution to everything.
And don't forget, I'm always right.
April's always right. Just remember, April's always right.
Yeah. Don't
Okay.
forget, you can disagree, you can disagree, but everyone always right.
Absolutely. And I'll be in Talk to the Hand in 15, 20 minutes. So maybe I'll see some of you there. We will be looking at British people swimming, believe it or not. So we'll be watching a video. Make sure you know how to use is it my on TV? We'll be watching a video together, okay? Take care. Bye. Thanks for coming.
Bye, Lynn. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.